5,000 kilometers south of the equator in Chilean Patagonia lies an incredible place called Melimoyu. I've come to explore this remote and pristine ecosystem and to learn more about its unique biodiversity through the organization and the scientists protecting and studying it. Stretching from the top of a glacier-capped volcano through a rainforest to the ocean, this land is a snapshot back in time. Despite days of rain, we managed to venture out between downpours for a taste of what draws scientists here, such as an ancient cypress forest and Darwin's frog. Blue skies offer us ideal conditions to set out for the summit of Melimoyu. We first head inland, where we can feel the true size and grandeur of this 160 square kilometer territory, privately owned and protected by a series of visionaries. The nonprofit Melimoyu Ecosystem Research Institute, or MERI, was primarily created to conduct research, but MERI also collaborates with academic institutions and works with the local community on educational programs. Rafaela Landea is MERI's director.
We know about guys that came to climb this volcano like a few years ago, and they thought that they would take like 4 or 5 days to get into the glacier. It takes 17 days to get into that, and they saw, in the chronics they write that they saw things that they didn't know what they are, you know. Insects, like even birds that sounds different. It's like, I think there's so many things to study.
Mount Melimoyu, a generally inactive conical volcano cresting at 2,400 meters. Protrusions along the rim of the ice-filled 8-kilometer-wide caldera inspired its name in the Mapuche language, meaning 4 horns. Spilling through a gap in the caldera wall, the glacier descends to feed one of the 2 main rivers flowing through the Melimoyu Basin to the bay. To have access to a complete ecological cycle from summit to ocean in a compacted transect of 9 kilometers is one of the many reasons Melimoyu is a researcher's playground. Yet so little of it has been studied or even seen. Exploration of the glacier, for example, has barely scratched the surface. And far below, as we trace the river back to the bay, we head to where no one has ever broken the surface, literally. I've been diving from a young age and have been able to experience underwater marvels around the world, but this dive is quite special. No one has ever put on scuba gear and taken the plunge to explore these waters. It is truly unique to be one of the first to see what's down there.
Until 2009, I was waiting for this moment, and finally happened.
Just what did you see that was fascinating for you?
Well, all these actinias, like a cloth of actinias, and the colors. I was surprised to see purples and reds and yellows. Mm-hmm. And the fish, I think they stay so quiet. They look to us so curious. I think we need to share this because it's a unique place and it's still very healthy in the land and also in the ocean.
Though the inaugural dive in Melimoyu was a first step in, with so much uncharted territory to research here, it takes those initial steps to lead to more questions, which lead to bigger research ideas and initiatives. In fact, one ongoing project here has already gone big. Or more rightfully, to the biggest, blue whales. MERI and the channel outside the Melimoyu Bay provides a rare opportunity, an established research station in a remote part of the world where blue whales are known to feed each year but had not been extensively studied. Why they come here is part of the question. Susanna is one scientist whose work here has helped find an answer.
It's a feat of evolution. I mean, the largest animal that's ever existed on our planet. Having it as a symbol, and that's what we've been working really to do here, is use it as a flagship species for a conservation initiative for this whole area.
Susanna's research is time and data intensive and involves the use of both old school tools and new data collection technologies. Through a myriad of water samples, she collects data on salinity, oxygen levels, temperature, and pH, as well as measurements of nutrients, chlorophyll, phytoplankton, and zooplankton. Ironically, while the core of her research centers on the largest living organism, her data collection focuses on the smallest. Phytoplankton and zooplankton is the food for krill, and krill the main diet of blue whales. But Susanna's work goes beyond simply collecting data and reading numbers. She's also listening.
The song of blue whales has a very basic structure. It's not like the humpback whale song, which is very elaborate. This is very characteristic of the Chilean dialect. So these are actually autonomous recording units. These devices we've deployed in places that we would never have access to. You would never be able in winter to go out to the entrance of the Corcovado Gulf. Here you really have the sensation that you're discovering something.
MERI has also been working in collaboration with the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution based in Massachusetts. Some of their research here has been tagging the blue whales for combined acoustic and movement tracking, and so the research continues.
We would love to study more, the dolphins, also the Magallanes penguin, to understand better when they arrive, when they go, if they are permanent, and then all the threats about the salmon farms. So there's also like a huge work that we should do. And then I think there's so many things to discover in the forest, like so many things that these forests have never been really explored. So many things to do that is incredible.
The day I arrived here and saw Melimoyu from the sky, before even landing, my first thought was to come back. It's hard to describe this feeling, but it's not hard to imagine it. Perhaps one of the greatest discoveries from my time is a simple one. There are still places on this planet that are pristine and protected. Humans and nature can and must find a balance in our coexistence, but that balance is fragile. This place gives me hope.